Hey guys, today I'm going to take you through the supply line and show you all of the things that you will need for your clay. The first thing you're going to need to do is cover your table. So I have these vinyl placemats for you to use underneath your clay. We want to make sure that the clay stays on those vinyl placemats so at the end of class we can wipe them down really easily instead of having clay all over our table. Next is our tool selection. This is called a needle tool, and you'll see that on the end it has a pointed end, kind of like a needle. We'll use that to draw into our clay. You can even cut with that end if you'd like. Then we have these loop tools. We'll use these loop tools to carve. So you can see there's a loop on the end. The loops are different. There's a variety of different loops on the end. So when we get ready to carve out our wells, you'll get to choose one of those. And then when we are cutting out our clay, there are lots of tools that have ends that look kind of like X-Acto knives. So there's a variety of different blades ends that you can use too. So there's a lot of different tools over here. I've tried to kind of keep them separated by needle tools, loop tools, and then tools that you can use to cut your clay. This stuff over here is slip, and ooh, in this video it looks really dark, but it's just clay with water, so it's really, really sticky clay. And we use this like clay glue. And to put that on, you can use your finger if you want, or we have toothbrushes. I bought these, actually. Nobody's ever used them. So you can get your, without getting your hands dirty, you can dip your toothbrush into that clay slip is what it's called, and you can rub it onto the space where it's needed. So if you don't want to use your fingers, this is a really great tool to use, the toothbrush, because it also roughs up your edges, and we'll talk about slipping and scoring, but this is slip. These are also slip, just a little different container. So clay and water to make really soupy glue. Okay, next is our rolling bars. They're in this bag back here. And to roll out your clay, you will need 2 of these rolling bars. They are the same width, so that we can make our clay equal width all the way out when we roll it. So you'll need these, and you can share those with a partner. These guys right here, plastic baggies, are also super important. Anytime you're not working with your clay, you need to have your clay in a plastic bag. So that means if you have pinched off a little bit of clay and the rest of it you're not using, it goes in that bag and you seal it up. At the end of class, when you're done for the day, if it's not done, it needs to go back in that baggie into your drawer so that it doesn't dry out before you come back the next day. Okay, now we've come to the portion that is super fun, and that's cleanup. So for cleanup, when you're working with clay, we never want to get that clay down the drain. Remember, that's super important. So we have these bowls, and they are in the sink. So the side with the bowl is where you're going to rinse off your hands and your tools first. And once you've rinsed them off really, really well, you can use the side of the sink with a strainer. So the other side has a strainer. It looks like this, and that's just to catch any extra clay that you maybe didn't get off. Do not ever pour this water down the sink. I will get rid of it outside, so we don't have clay going down our drain and clogging up our drains. So rinse first in the bucket, then you can wash over the strainer. So here I have my place all set up. I have my vinyl mat down. I have a tool that I'm going to use to cut today. I have a little bit of water with a sponge in case my clay dries out. And I also have my rolling boards and a rolling pin. So I'm going to show you today how to get your slabs. The first thing you're going to do after you get your clay is wedge it. So wedging it is basically kind of like kneading dough. So I'm going to roll it kind of together, and then I'm going to put my hands together, and I'm just going to squash it down like that. And then I pick it up and turn it and squash it down. I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again until I have it kind of smoothed out. What this does is it takes all the air bubbles out of your clay so that it's less likely to explode in the kiln. And we're just going to wedge it about 10 to 15 times. Once I've had it wedged 10 to 15 times, I just keep picking it up and turning it, pushing it down. I am going to form it into a ball. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to kind of hit it and turn it until it starts to form a ball, just like you would do with Play-Doh. So you kind of have to get strong with it and show it who's boss. Okay, so you're going to form it into a little ball. And then I'm going to flatten out the top and the bottom so that I can begin to roll it. So to do that, I'm not going to slam it down super loud, but I am going to take my clay and I'm going to very forcefully push it down onto my vinyl mat. And I'm going to pick it up. You'll see it kind of flattens out that side. And I'm going to do the same to this. I'm going to throw it down, kind of flatten it out. And I can do that a couple of times. Just pick it up and turn it, pick it up and turn it. And each time you do it, you'll notice it starts to get flatter and flatter. And if you were to ever have to throw a slab out, if you didn't have a rolling pin, basically you just keep doing it until it becomes the thickness that you want. So I would just keep throwing it, picking it up and throwing it, and kind of flattening it out each time, rotating it until it got to the correct thickness. But we're lucky, we have rolling pins. So after I have it kind of flattened out, I'm going to take my 2 rolling pins, I'm going to lay them flat like this. Okay, and then I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to press down on my clay, and I'm going to just roll it out until my rolling pin rolls flat against those boards. So as I work with it, I might realize that maybe my template is a little bit wider, so I might need to turn it and go this way with it and put my boards up and roll it. So you can kind of work with it to get it the correct shape that you need. So this is really cool because these boards here are going to help us roll the clay out to the correct thickness. Usually that thickness that we want our clay to be is about 1/4 of an inch thick, which is usually about the thickness of your pinky. So we're just going to roll it until it's flat against those boards, and we know it's the right thickness. Okay, after I have my clay rolled out, I am going to place my template right on top of that rolled out clay, and I'm going to use my needle tool, or you can use one of the cutting tools. You can see which one you like better. And I'm going to trace around and cut that clay out. So I'm just going to place my hand on top of my template to keep it still, and I'm going to use it just like I would be tracing something, but I'm going to be tracing it with my needle tool or my little blade. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to pull away that extra clay, and that extra clay I can ball up and put into my Ziploc baggie. And now I have my ice cream cone, and you'll notice that there are some spaces that need to be kind of smoothed out. So I'm going to take my fingers and just put a little bit of water on them, and then I can just go right around those edges, and I can smooth them out the way I need them to be. I can kind of manipulate the clay too, like if it didn't get round enough, I can kind of round it, because mine's an ice cream cone. Okay, so I'm going to smooth those out. And then I have my piece ready to be carved.